I'd like to begin with an event that took place 76 years ago. It was a cold morning in 1933 in January. Adolf Hitler was sworn in as Chancellor of one of the world's great democracies. But it was not the cold January morning, but a hot February night about 4 weeks later that should command our greatest attention. It was February 27th, 1933, the night the Reichstag was set ablaze, and Hitler was busy converting a chancellorship into a dictatorship. We are not a fascist country. Nobody is contemplating the mass arrests or elimination of communist Jews or any other group. But we should note how quickly Hitler converted one of the world's greatest democracies into a dictatorship. What the Reichstag fire reminds us is how tenuous democracy can be. Mark Vanderheiden, the former president of my college, used to start meetings by saying we're always one generation away from barbarism. And he and his family hid another family during the Second World War, and he knows something about the close proximity to barbarism that we're always in. To quote Sandra Day O'Connor, the former Supreme Court Justice, she said, "It takes a lot of degeneration before a country falls into dictatorship, but we should avoid these ends by avoiding these beginnings." We are all fascism busters. We are all dictatorship busters. This is how I want to start my talk, with the idea that politics matters. It mattered in Germany, it matters now. And even if you're playing a video game or watching reality TV, you're still making a political statement. I say this because in a democracy, all of our actions, including our inactions, matter and speak to us. What is the health of our ultimate check on power? We, the people. We all know that the news industry is in deep trouble. I have a friend, I'm 45 years old, I have a friend who's 10 years younger than me, Dina, who just moved to San Jose, California. At San Jose, she decided to set up a new network of friends, and the way she did this, without any aid from her newspaper, was she went to Craigslist. And she's a knitter, and she decided to create an actual community by taking out ads in Craigslist and say, I want to find other knitters to knit with. And she had to convince half of them, the people who replied over Craigslist, that she didn't want to sleep with them. But once she was able to kind of get over that hurdle, she was able to create an actual community out of a virtual one. And not entirely coincidentally, Knight Ridder, the owner of the San Jose Mercury News, put itself up for sale in 2006, and only one company, McClatchy, was interested. But McClatchy turned around and tried to sell the paper, and not completely coincidentally, one report suggests that Craigslist's advertising had cost San Francisco Bay Area newspapers up to $65 million in advertising in 1 year. But I'm less interested in the changing business model than what this all means for democracy. And I think democracy is a really key word here. One of the things that I was able to do in researching my book was not only speaking with young people around the country, but speaking with news executives. And I found that young people were very tuned out to a great extent, maybe to an extent more than many of us don't realize. But I also found out that not enough media executives talk about democracy. I think the exception, a notable exception, and it was great to see a lot of people from the New York Times here today. I met with the New York Times Circulation and Marketing Department after my book came out, and I was thinking that they were going to be talking about strategies, about reaching the young demographic. But more than anything, they were talking about democracy. And Times people who I've spoken with in the last 4 years have been very interested in democracy. The video that we saw last night one person said, we don't have an agenda. I think there is an agenda. The agenda is that all good newspapers are in the democracy business, are in the democracy protecting business.